Hello, and it's good to have you join us on NTA International News at 7, broadcast live from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Abdul Malik Adio. The headlines. After Eid al-Fitr, President Muhammadu Buhari urges Muslims to keep up spirit even in the face of COVID-19. Tribunal upholds Governor Yahya Bello's election. An Operation Ardin Daji decimates armed bandit camps in Katsina and Zamfara State. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has urged Muslims to keep up spirit in spite of the coronavirus pandemic as they prepare to celebrate Eid al-Fitr. In his Salah message to Muslims on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr, President Muhammadu Buhari noted that for the first time in recent years, the COVID-19 pandemic has taken a heavy toll on people's spiritual, social and economic lives.
Noted that for the first time in recent years, the pandemic has taken a heavy toll on the people's spiritual, social and economic lives as they had to forgo many important aspects of their daily worship, including the routine congregations for prayer and the recitation and interpretation of the Holy Quran, as well as traveling for the lesser pilgrimage to Mecca. President Buhari commended both Muslims and Christians for their cooperation in the enforcement of the social distancing guidelines for the overall health benefit of all, adding that no government would intentionally impose these tough measures on its citizens if it had a choice, assuring Nigerians that the lockdown measures would not go on longer than necessary, as they would be reviewed from time to time, praying Allah to ease the hardships on the people while wishing Nigerians Eid Mubarak.
Now, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawal, has felicitated with Nigerians and the Muslim Ummah in particular on the occasion of this year's Eid al-Fitr. A statement by the President of the Senate congratulated the Muslim faithful on the successful completion of the fasting, despite the challenge of COVID-19, which stood between the faithful and the total observance of key rituals of the period. Even as the holy month has ended, he enjoins them to continue to observe health precautions and sustain the act of purity, charity, perseverance and tolerance in their daily lives. Senator Lawal commended health workers and other essential service providers and called for continuous prayers as he assured Nigerians that the National Assembly will continue to provide initiatives and responses expected of a responsible legislature in a vibrant democracy and as any arm of a caring government. Now, the federal government has declared 25th and 26th of May 2020 as public holidays to mark Eid al-Fitr celebration. Now, the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, who made the declaration on behalf of the federal government, congratulates all Muslim faithful for the successful completion of the Ramadan fast. In a statement from the Director and Public Relations of the Ministry, Rauf Aregbesola called on Muslims to replicate the life of kindness, love, tolerance, peace and good neighborliness as exemplified by the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and peace be upon him, and express concern about the spate of ethnic conflicts that has resurfaced in some parts of northern Nigeria in recent times. He advised Nigerians to see themselves as single entity and tolerate one another despite ethnic and religious differences. Rauf Aregbesola further assured Nigerians that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is fully committed to battling the scourge of COVID-19 with the cooperation of all Nigerians, while commending security agencies for their successes so far recorded in the fight against the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast. He advised Nigerians to take responsibility against the spread of COVID-19 pandemic by staying safe and observing physical and social distancing, personal hygiene, as well as other regulations issued by relevant authorities. The minister reminded Muslims of the need to always obey constituted authorities as stated in the Holy Quran. Now, 30 days Ramadan in some few hours will come to an end, and some have given way to celebration, but from all indications, this year's edition is with a difference, very huge, to the coronavirus pandemic currently ravaging the world. Today's Psyche in this report takes a look at the position of some Islamic scholars on the way to celebrate the expected.
Eid al-Fitr is an important celebration in the Islamic world. Aside being end of Ramadan, it is also believed to be the month Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, got the first revelation of the Holy Quran. Because of its significance, it is marked with supplication to Allah and also a period of charity and social gatherings. But there is going to be a twist to the celebration this year, as coronavirus has altered this ritual. Muslim faithful in Lagos State are toeing the lane and directive of the Jamaatul Nasrul Islam under the leadership of Sultan of Sokoto Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, who called off all the activities that normally surround this festival. The faithful are already prepared to observe their prayers at home with their families or even alone.
One is that there should be no congregation. We don't need to congregate to observe our Salatul Eid al-Fitr, which is the supererogatory prayer that we normally observe at the immediately after the expiration of the either 29 or 30 days of Ramadan.
The unique nature of the Eid this year is that the father has been promoted to become an imam, or even the son in the family can lead, while the wives and the children will line up behind the imam, and it is just for 2 rakah.
The observance of COVID-19 protocol to prevent the spread of the virus is also the basis some clerics would want everyone to obey to celebrate alive.
The message of this Islamic faithful as Eid al-Fitr is celebrated is simple. We do not need to be a victim of the virus, and so let us celebrate alive even after the Ramadan celebrations. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki.
Many thanks, Tunde. Now, this year's Ramadan has been characterized with many differences of no feasting in group and no voluntary congregational prayers called Taraweeh. Despite all that, in a few hours, it is certain Eid al-Fitr will be here, but there is an uncertainty about how to celebrate it. Musbah Danwahab is our guide.
The search for a new crescent has begun, and so too is the last-minute shopping for the end of a month-long Ramadan fast, Eid al-Fitr. But Salisu Yusuf is uncertain with preparation for any celebration.
I don't know what you go do because this COVID-19, it don't spoil everything.
Elsewhere, little Muklis Olajire, sizing his new dress, is anxiously waiting for the usual flocking to prayer ground on Salah Day. At least, he had seen a few of such in the past.
Do you like it?
Yes. Daddy, are we going for Salah dinner?
No, we are not going for Salah dinner. You know there will be no Eid this year, right?
Alas, it is going to be a different mode of Salah celebration this year. That their father has been pressing home to their consciousness.
When they brought their new clothes and everything, they were like, inshallah, we'll be going for Eid. And the moment I just mentioned the word coronavirus, oh, Daddy will not be going to any gathering.
Coronavirus is novel to this generation, but such pandemic is not new in Islam. And in the series of a new normal, with exception of some northern states whose governors have issued a contrary directive, Muslims in Nigeria, like in many other countries across the world, will have a new experience.
Everybody will pray their Salah, their 2 rakah prayers in their homes with their family. The Muslims should know that this thing that is happening to us, we are not the only one. This is our own turn to share from the world pandemic challenge which the entire world is facing.
Because there is coronavirus.
It is an incredible reality that Muklis and his older sister, Makfusa, are now very much aware of. But they can only hope for a better future soonest.
I pray that the coronavirus should go maybe like before next month.
In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NC News.
Many thanks, Musbah Danwahab, and it's less than hours to the Eid al-Fitr celebration. And live with me in the studio is an Islamic scholar, Abdullah Pen Abdul, who is going to do justice as regards talking about the Eid al-Fitr celebration amid the COVID-19 lockdown restriction. It's a pleasure to have you join us on the news at 7 on NTA International.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Right. Stars, now we're talking about the rituals for Eid al-Fitr celebration.
No.
And now that we are counting down hours, what are these rituals?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Normally, under normal circumstances, there are a set of etiquettes to be observed when preparing for the Eid prayer. The first of which is to take the ghusl, which is the ritual bath, because of the narration of Ibn Umar in the Muwatta of Imam Malik, that he will take his ritual bath in the morning of Eid al-Fitr before setting out. And this has come to be almost a consensus by the scholars, according to what Imam Nawawi said. Then after taking the ghusl, then the next ritual is the hadith of Anas bin Malik. The Prophet ﷺ will eat dates, and he will eat them in odd numbers, according to the narration in Sahih Bukhari, which means we are encouraged to eat, but it is prescribed to eat in the morning of Eid al-Fitr, just to signal exit from fasting in the month of Ramadan. And after that ritual, one of the commonest things also is, glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the words of Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. This is another ritual, and Ibn Umar will do this according to what Imam Malik said. Ibn Umar will do this from the moment he steps out from his house up until the time that the Imam will come out on the Eid ground. Unfortunately, or we say fortunately, right, because whatever God does is the best thing for us. We're not going to have that privilege today to walk out to the Eid ground to observe that. But again, whatever you cannot be able to do in this all, you can do a part of it. So the Muslims by tomorrow, amidst COVID-19, are expected at least to wake up in the morning, take their ritual bath, eat early as possible, eat some dates in odd numbers or anything that you can lay your hands on. Then you do the takbirat, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala much, then put on your cloth. This also has been narrated by Ibn Umar, that his father will once bought a beautiful brocade for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to put on Eid celebration. And from this it is understood that it was common amongst the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that during Eid celebration, which is a festive period, that people put on their new clothes to usher in that. And, yeah.
All right. Another question that actually beckons, talking about rituals now.
Yeah.
Since there's a hold as regards people gathering, saying prayers at the masjid or going to the Eid ground now. If you want to perform, this rite at home, like you do want to do the prayer, how many, like it said that the Allahu Akbar for the first time is 7. Yeah. What's the process like if you want to observe your prayer, your Eid prayer at home?
Well, this is an area of difference of opinion amongst the scholars, but we go with what the majorities are upon, like Imam Malik, Al-Awza'i, and Abu Thawr, and others. They are of the opinion that you can observe it at home, then you observe it as if you have missed the prayer. And the nature of observing it is, according to the majority view, is that you pray the 2 rak'ats as usual as it is being observed during the Eid. Then you say the 7 takbirat in the first rak'at, and the second one you say 5 takbirat. Then you afterwards you exit from the prayer without doing the sermon. Right. That is the difference. And you can pray alone, and you can lead your family to do that. And that will give you the sense of being in the spirit of celebration.
Amazing. Before I let you go, how should Muslims behave at this particular point in time, facing the fact that we're talking about COVID-19 and restrictions?
Well, a Muslim naturally is a well-behaved individual, or should be a cultured individual. And what I mean by this, in the midst of this COVID-19, we're used to having these large gatherings to celebrate Eid and to meet with families and friends. But with these social health protocols that have been put in place, the Muslims are expected to be as responsible as they should be to observe the social distance, protocol and other protocols that have been rolled out there to ensure that the pandemic is is tamed.
Indeed, indeed. Now talking about Zakatul Fitr.
Yeah.
Now it's the end of Ramadan fast, and you know, and Islamic, it's more of giving alms given to the needy. You know, any advice as regards, you know, compulsion and the distribution of this Zakatul Fitr?
Yeah, my advice has always been that, the beauty of Islam is that you can give it 2 days before the 8th day.
Right.
And now we see the wisdom behind that. Now, in this lockdown situation, we are more, in need of giving it out a day before the actual Eid day, because the purpose is for those needy to have something to cook in their houses. So one of the advice that I've been given is that, I don't know if it is too late now, but I've been echoing it, that the masajid, the mosque committees should have mapped out the areas where the needies are because of this lockdown. So it is their responsibility to go out there to map out these areas, get whatever they have and distribute it to them as early as possible, or perhaps tonight, distribute it to them so that they can have something to cook. And,
Indeed, many thanks for coming on the news at 7 on NTA International. We do appreciate your insight.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, you're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja, the nation's capital. We now have more news after the break. When we come back, just stay tuned.
This is a very important message. Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. No forget, your body no tranga like before. You not even tranga like your children or your grandchildren. So therefore, always wear your mask for this pandemic period. No they to receive visitors, so even if not your grandchildren. Make extra mask where you go fit wash. Make like 2 and that's your number 1. And if you dey come out for house, wear your mask always. And if you come back, wash your hand with soap and running water to avoid coronavirus. Make you for live long for your children and your grandchildren. No forget, Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. Protect me, I protect you. Na coalition of societies for the right of older persons in Nigeria, COSROPIN, join body with National Orientation Agency, NOA, bring on this message.
Many thanks for staying tuned. Now, in Saudi Arabia has imposed a total curfew over Eid holidays as churches in Berlin opens its doors to Muslims unable to fit into mosques under new COVID-19 social distancing rules in Germany. Here is Onenge Fineface with more updates on COVID-19 in Nigeria and the globe.
Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has announced 245 new cases and 10 deaths of COVID-19 in Nigeria. No new state reported a case in the last 24 hours. The 245 new cases are reported from 22 states, with Lagos having 131 cases, followed by Jigawa, Ogun and Borno states recording 16, 13 and 12 cases. Anambra, Gombe, Niger, Ondo, Plateau, FCT and Bayelsa states had the least number of new cases. Nigeria now has 7,261 confirmed cases, 2,007 cases discharged and 221 deaths in 34 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Elsewhere, World Health Organization says the COVID-19 pandemic has reached a milestone in Africa with more than 100,000 confirmed cases. In a statement, the organization said the virus has now spread to every country on the continent since the first case was confirmed in the region 14 weeks ago, noting that there were 3,100 confirmed deaths on the continent. For now, COVID-19 has made a soft landfall in Africa, thereby sparing the continent of high numbers of deaths, which has devastated other regions of the world. Globally, more than 5.3 million cases of COVID-19 have been recorded, according to Johns Hopkins University. 341,250 have died and 2 million have recovered as at 6 p.m. Nigerian time. Brazil is now world's number 2 hotspot for COVID-19 cases, second only to the United States, after it confirmed that more than 330,000 people have been infected by the virus, overtaking Russia. China has not recorded any new case for May 22, 2020. Onengie Fineface, NTA News.
Many thanks, Onengie. Now, let's join Uche Ugochukwu for the week in review.
Hello and welcome. The outgoing week began another phase of the gradual ease of lockdown as advised by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 at a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari.
Looking at it holistically, it will put us in a better frame to deal with the future.
President Buhari also held a virtual meeting with members of the Nigerian Governors Forum on the state of the nation, where he appealed to them to work more closely with the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 for better harmony in curtailing the prevailing health crisis. And the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, inaugurated Post-COVID-19 Initiative Committee to assess impact on the creative industry.
Very critical sector of the nation's economy and a major plank of the economic diversification policy of this administration.
Also, the House of Representatives, in partnership with the executive arm of government in tackling the coronavirus pandemic on all fronts, came up with an 18-member ad hoc committee on COVID-19. We also reported that the Economic, Social and Cultural Council of the African Union inaugurated subcommittees in Abuja to climax its strategic agenda on the fight against COVID-19 through the engagement of professionals to drive its response in Nigeria. Meanwhile, some core members in Akwa Ibom State constructed a disinfection chamber at the Federal Secretariat Complex, Uyo, to assist in curbing the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Within the week, the National Council on Privatization approved the preparation of a draft legislative instrument to enact the Health Sector Reform Bill and associated legislation. When approved by the President, millions of Nigerians may not have to pay to receive quality health care delivery services in the country. During the week under review, the Federal Executive Council approved 2.9 billion naira for the provision of water and fire service equipment in the National Oil and Gas Park to be sited in Odupani, Cross River State. Similar approvals were also secured for the provision of other critical infrastructure in the transportation, works and housing, finance, education, as well as aviation sectors. The federal government and the Kaduna state government entered an agreement for the execution of a TC multi-purpose dam project to, among others, supply water to Kaduna metropolis and its environs. Kano state government got 4,000 metric tons of assorted food items from the federal government to cushion the effects of the lockdown order in the state. That's it from here. I am Uche Ugochukwu. Eid Mubarak in advance to all our Muslim brothers.
Many thanks, Uche. Now, the Kogi State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja has affirmed the election of Yaya Bello as the governor of Kogi State.
A petition against his election has been filed by Musa Wada, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2019 election. The judgment delivered on Saturday by the tribunal chairman, Justice Kashim Kaigama, was 2-1. The panel held that the petitioner failed to prove the allegations of overvoting, massive thumb printing, or voter intimidation and other electoral malpractices. It awarded a cost of 1 million naira to be paid by the petitioners, PDP and Musa Wada, to INEC, Yaya Bello and APC, who are the respondents. However, in his dissenting judgment, Justice Ohimia Obiagele nullified the election. He said INEC should conduct fresh elections in 7 local government areas where the petitioners proved the allegations of overvoting, thuggery, voter intimidation, massive thumb printing and other electoral malpractices.
As part of the renewed offensive to rid the northwest of the country of armed bandits and other criminal elements, the air component of Operation Aradin Daji has decimated several camps and neutralized no fewer than 135 armed bandits in massive air raids executed at several locations in Katsina and Zamfara State. In a statement signed by Coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Defense Headquarters, Major General John Eneche, the airstrikes were undertaken sequel to credible human intelligence report, as well as a series of intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance missions that led to the identification of the camps. The mission was painstakingly undertaken by Air Component as it dispatched its attack aircraft to the location in multiple bombing roles, some of which were executed simultaneously with a set of hot housing, one of the notorious bandit leaders taken out by airstrike, with scores of bandits killed and few seen fleeing with gunshot wounds towards the Damboram forest. Similarly, air raids were executed in Asan Tangwae's and Alaji Auta's compound, as well as Meikomi. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has condoled with the government and the people of Rivers State over the passing of legal icon, author and professor of law, Justice Adolphus Godwin Karibi-White. President Muhammadu Buhari prayed to God will comfort his family, the academia and the Nigerian Bar Association and body of benches, friends and associates, commending his contributions to the law and jurisprudence in the country and beyond. A statement from President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity says the President notes with deep conviction that the legal luminary used his knowledge, wisdom and experience in serving the nation. President affirmed that Justice Karibi-White played more historic roles in growing Nigeria's legal system, strengthening democratic institutions, and shaping the policy direction of the many government and international agencies as he served as chairman, Nigerian Constitutional Conference 1994 to 1995, Counterfeit Currency Tribunal, Nigeria Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, Committee of Pro-Chancellors of State-Owned Universities, and Judge and Vice President of International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavian at Hague. The President believed that the erudite jurist lived and led by example, set a standard for resourcefulness and patriotism, and brought honor to the country, praying that Almighty God will grant his soul a peaceful rest. Up next is sports.
Scores against Paderborn once again. Bosch, the trio of centre-halves, and what an error from Bikacic, and what a goal that is to level the scores. Oh my, that's a super strike from Dennis Sabeni.
Although